Alright, so for the skip video that we released, some people said, hey, I thought that this would be like a 34-year-old, explaining zip bombs. And there's a lot of likes on that comment. I'm not 34 years old, but I know a lot about tech, so I'll explain to you zip bombs. I'll explain to you their dangers, I'll explain to you how it works. Alright, so zip bombs are very dangerous things that could easily break a computer. But the thing is, zip bombs aren't as easy to catch as most other viruses. I know that there are definitely more discrete viruses that can be much harder to catch, but simple ones that I could create will just be like an exe file that'll just type something into command prompt and steal your IP address. But zip bombs aren't as easy to run because they aren't easy to catch. So the big thing here is when you when you unzip the file, there's nothing that's blocking you. When you run an application, Windows Defender will tell you, hey, there's a problem, like this might be suspicious. Whenever you download an APK and you install it, it says, hey, do you want this potentially like malicious app or something like that, like on your system? And it brings the awareness of, hey, there might be problems with this app. But unzipping a zip file won't be caught with these same things, and people will be less wary of unzipping a zip file.
Alright, so how do zip bombs in general work? So zip files work by compressing a whole bunch of tiny files into one condensed file, a zip file. So apparently the word Lord appears in the Old Testament King James Version of the Bible 7,234 times, according to Christian Bible References site. So while there are some things that aren't exactly correct, there are a few nuances. The way that zip files work is they make a dictionary of words. Let's say that the word Lord is there, and then it will basically just reference it and say, hey, so the word Lord is used on word 15, 32, 74, 157, and it can basically just keep a dictionary of that. Zip files benefit from repetition. So if there's repetition in bytes, then I could just use that and say, hey, there's a repetition of this byte. So I used an example for words, but of course computers operate with ones and zeros, so it'll be more like ones and zeros. So say, hey, the bytes 0110 show up 30 times in this file. So then I'll say, I'll just reference it once, and then I'll say, hey, go and reference that first reference. And it's at this one, this one, this one. That's how zip files work. So now let's say that you compress a whole bunch of the same file. So let's say you have compressed the Bible, and you now compress the Bible 100 more times. And when you unzip that, your CPU has to figure out, okay, so this file's here, this file's here, this file's here. And the idea is it has to go through every single one and make it all usable because you have 100 Bibles. But when you're zipping it, it's pretty easy because it's the same file. So it zips it once, and then it basically tells all the other ones, hey, just reference the very first one. And that's how zip files will be able to zip a whole bunch of them in a small size. So that's not too bad. It's 100 files. It will run your CPU pretty hot. It will run your RAM pretty hot. And it's not going to be good, but most computers nowadays can probably easily handle it. The Bible's not too bad. Now, what if you do 1,000 of them, 10,000 of them, 100,000, a million? If you compress a whole bunch of those, let's say you do it 1,000,000 times. You compress it once, then you reference the first one 1,000,000 times. So it's actually not that big. But when you unzip it, now you have to unzip 1,000,000 Bibles. And trust me, that is not an easy task. So there's so many problems with this. Your CPU could just crash. And that's the main thing. Your RAM can fill up because it has to store the stuff in RAM to, figure out the next part. And then once it's done, it'll remove it from RAM and put it in memory. But your RAM can be used up. And all of these things are not good. So you can't actually get zip bombs from GitHub. I actually have tried them. I always done it wrong, so it didn't work for me. But like, that's one thing that you want to be very wary of. So the main problem that I said earlier is antiviruses can't really like figure out what these zip files are, because zip files aren't really that quote unquote scary. Other files can steal your credit card data, your search history, and all this stuff, and those things are scary, and antiviruses are built around that. Zip bombs are less common, and they honestly matter less. They'll just crash your computer, and even though that's frustrating, it's not really as much of a security vulnerability. Alright, so, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for helping us out, Spontaneous. If you're watching this on Oliver2402, my channel, thanks for helping me out. Yeah. Peace. Bye.